establishment for having us here today.
Sure.
Really great speakers as well. I think I heard a couple of comments about failure and your partner, but real quick, my name is Michelle Ray, and besides being a movie producer, I'm also a realtor. I've been a realtor in Las Vegas and investor since 2012.
Nice.
And primarily just working with some Hollywood personalities and athletes and Silicon Valley executives. And I specialize in creative financing, so I'm here to educate too for any first-time home buyers. But also, besides movie producing, besides being a realtor and investor, I've also worked full-time in the visual effects industry as head of business development, strategic investments and partnerships. So I've been working with studios like Sony and Marvel, Disney, ESPN, as well as some Fortune 500 companies on their strategic development and investments and acquisitions over a 3 to 5 year vision. And besides that, I'm also passionate about fitness. I see fitness as a parallel to what I do and my successes in business, right? It's the volume, it's the reps we put into anything we do. So I did fitness competitions and bodybuilding competitions, turning pro in 2012, winning my IFBB pro card.
Nice.
But I say all this because I have so many people telling me, how do you do so many things? And if you really look at all the successful people here today and most successful people in life, they do a lot of different things. And the key to that is loving what you do, caring about what you do, but also staying curious and time management skills. It literally comes out of time management. But I think one of the biggest successes in life, and this came up with another speaker here today, is choosing your partner. And it's not just your business partner, but it's your life partner. And so one of my biggest successes in life really is my best friend and my partner and my husband, Ron Ray. And so I'll kind of hand it all over to him today. Here, take this.
Well, it's really tough to follow this act. It's impossible. I was sitting there going, what do I got to do? Start hip-hopping out here? What do I got to do? This is amazing.
Thank you.
And Noel, I don't know where you are, but you are amazing as well. And I got there a little bit later. We had some things going on. I'm the most successful man on the stage today. You know why? Because I got her to marry me.
That's right.
That's it. Right there.
That's right.
Because I was the guy in high school. I was in the loneliest place on earth, friend zone. I was in friend zone in high school. Okay? And I got to college, changed a few things, and all of a sudden, I was every girl's type. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is how it works. So I found women. And then I lost my scholarship.
That's how it happens.
That's what happened. But then I started doing what Robert does, what Noel did. I started throwing parties. And I used to compete in hip-hop. And I used to do the b-boy style dancing.
Oh. So
I would throw parties. And there's a guy here, when I first moved here in 1997, I was broke, I was sleeping in my car, and, you know, I had $150 in my pocket, $250,000 in debt from college, sleeping outside the 24-hour fitness in Green Valley and Sunset, and I would go into Payne Weber. I got a job as a stockbroker, and if you've seen Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith,
Favorite move.
that's my story, minus the kid. I have no kids that I know of. And I didn't know anybody in this city, not a single person. My mom and dad didn't have any money. So I would go to the nightclub, and the hottest nightclub in town was Rio, Club Rio.
Oh, yep.
And that was the place. And me and this guy who I just ran into, we used to own the dance floor. Giorgio, who's working here right here. Right there. 25 years ago, I just ran into him. We used to literally get to the club and we just ruled the dance floor. And we used to battle guys from LA, and I'd be like, send them packing home. And the funniest thing is, during the day I worked as a stockbroker, I'm in a suit. At night, I'm in the club. People would see me and they would go, wait, is the same guy?
Yeah.
You're not defined by one thing.
Yep.
You can do anything you want to do.
Yes.
I was broke. I was sleeping in my car. I would get up at 4 o'clock, quickly put on my suit, be in the office by 6, stay there till 10. I had nowhere to be. they weren't going to pay me for 3 weeks till I passed my Series 7. I had to survive on $150 for 3 weeks.
Wow.
There were 189 people in my training class, 1997. Out of the 189, today, I'm the only one standing as a stockbroker from that batch. And somebody at that time told me, they asked me, do you know anybody with money? I said, no. Does your parents have money? I said, no, they don't even have $100. My family's actually bankrupt. You have no chance of making it in the business. To be a stockbroker, successful financial advisor, you have to know people with money. I didn't know anybody with money. You have no chance of making it. I said, okay, well, that's your opinion. One day you're going to offer me a lot of money to come work for you. And he walked out of there. 5 years later, in 2002, he took me to lunch and he offered me $1 million to come work for him. And I had lunch with him and I said, do you remember you telling me this? He started laughing. He goes, yeah, I was hoping you wouldn't remember it. I just came here to tell you that here I am and now I'm not going to accept your job.
Right.
And I went on my credit card and I started my financial services in 2002. 26 years in the business now, managing money. But I always wanted to be an actor. And I would, do this. I would go to Hollywood, audition. And every audition I went to, by the way, I know how many people here think I'm Mexican or Hispanic? Let's see. Well, every audition I would go to, they'd be like, yeah, I'm actually Indian from India. So they would look at me and go, you can't audition. I go, why not? Because you don't look Indian. I go, I don't look Indian? No, what do I look like? I don't know, Mexican, Latin, Arab, but you don't look Indian. I go, so every Indian talks like this and with an accent. What do you want me to do, sir?
Right. What do you want me to do?
So the guy's like, that happens to me all the time. I would actually drive through and do this stuff all the time. I'd mess with people. But I said, okay, well, are you auditioning for a Mexican guy? They're like, yeah. I go, I speak 5 languages. I'm fluent in Spanish. Can I audition? Yeah, but we want authentic Mexican.
Wow.
I was like, wow, I'm not going to go in. They won't let me through the door. So I said, okay, these are guys that are casting agents. They work for the producer, so I'm going to own the house. They're going to work for me. So then what I did was I wrote a script. I had the story in my head. I wrote a script and I sent it I manage money for a lot of the guys in Hollywood, agents, managers, actors, producers. So I sent it to 2 agents and I said, hey, I just want some notes. Nothing else. Came back with a $90,000 and $160,000 offer to buy my script. Wow. 2 guys. I went to LA all excited. I was like, hey, I'm going to direct this movie. The guy that offered me $90,000, he was a jerk. He was very condescending the way he spoke to me. He used some F words on me, and then he said, nobody wants you. Either give me a script or get the F out of my office. I walked out of his office. I'm like, I'm not giving you my script. Right. The other guy was super nice. He looked at me and he goes, you're an investor, right? I goes, yeah. I go, you invest money, you bought other people. I go, yeah. He goes, have you ever directed a short film? I said, no. Music video? No. Commercial? No. But I've been acting since I'm 15. He goes, yeah, but how am I going to sell you to an investor as a director? I said, wow, that's a really good point. He goes, people will go, this guy is a stockbroker. What the hell does he know about directing movies, producing movies? I said, thank you. That's very kind of you. Instantly, it hit me. Next 2 years, I sat at Barnes & Noble out of town, and I read every book I could on directing and producing every weekend. And I learned everything, and I made my first short film in 2005. And I made it for $5,000. I took it out of my credit card, and I bought a $7,000 camera in 2005. That was just the HD revolution, the digital revolution was just starting. I took that $7,000 camera, shot my short with it, then I rented it out in Hollywood. And I made $58,000 from that $7,000 camera. And using that money, I funded the rest of my shorts, and I bought the computer for editing, the other cameras. I bought everything. And then 2 years later, I sold that camera for $3,500, bought a camera for $11,000. David Beckham paid me $11,000 for one job. And I went on to make another $60,000. So basically, my left hand was funding my right hand back in the day. I always say, you don't fail because you lack resources. You fail because you lack resourcefulness. Think about that.
Write that down, Tyler.
You don't fail because you lack resources. You fail because you lack resourcefulness. I was always resourceful. When I showed up outside Club Rio back in the day, before I met Giorgio, I look at the line, I'm like, holy shit, and they're charging $60 cover charge. I'm like, I don't need $150. So I'm walking around and I'm like, a huge line. I go to the bathroom and I see one of the security guys in the, washing his hands. And some guy was being a jerk to him. And I looked at him and I said, man, I'm shocked how nice you were to him. I would have kicked that guy's butt. And he looks at me and goes, man, I deal with jerks all this time. I go, well, I'm from Chicago, so I don't know this. I just moved here. I'm 28 years old at this time, bro. I'm like, I just moved here, so I don't know the people here. And he looks at me and goes, you're from Chicago? Man, I'm from Chicago. He goes, oh, I'm like, cool. I'm like, have you been in the club? You checked out the club? I'm like, no, man, I can't stand in line. He goes, come on, man, I got you. He gets me in the club. The moment I got inside the club, I became friends with every bartender, every door guy, and I could dance. So I started teaching the dancers my routines. And then me and Giorgio would get up on the stage, and they wouldn't allow girls up on the stage, but they would allow us. And then so every weekend I would show up in the club. I would walk in like a VIP with as many people I want, shaking everybody's hands when I didn't have money to even buy a bottle of water. Once again, being resourceful, right? It all ties in later how this movie came about. So then I went to work for Payne Weber, then I worked for 5 years. 2002, at the bottom of the bear market, I took all my clients and I left and I started my firm. By 2004, I paid off all my debt.
Nice.
You can't work for somebody else and get ahead. And in the financial services business, if I made $1 million, they gave me 30% of it. They pocketed $700,000, 70%. The moment I went on my own, I pocketed 100% minus my overhead. So I said, even if half my clients come with me, right? Even if half my clients come with me, I'm good. And that's why when I'm listening to Robert speak, when I'm listening to Noel speak, right? And some of the other speakers I came in halfway through, like you, it really resonated with me. And before I go on, I want to give a big shout out to Art.
Yeah.
Please give him a huge round of applause.
Yeah, Art.
Because this doesn't happen without somebody like him.
Yeah.
And when you're coming up, your network is your net worth. It's who you know. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And once again, I will come back around and I'll tell you how that impacted me. Then I get 2008, I end up acting in this movie, huge Bollywood movie, had the biggest Mexican star. We're shooting in Vegas. And that was the night her and I ended up together.
Nice.
That was 2008.
Nice.
Best thing that ever happened to me.
Nice.
But out of that movie, Brett Ratner, who produced Rush Hour movies. Have you guys seen Rush Hour 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah.
Well, get ready. The 4 is coming. 4 is being made. Yes. It's coming soon. The shooting starts next year. The director of Rush Hour saw my performance, loved me, invited me and Michelle to his house. We became friends. And this guy was ruling Hollywood at this time. I could name X-Men. I could go on with the movies. I mean, the top movies, X-Men, Family Man with Nicolas Cage, Rush Hour 1, 2, and 3, Red Dragon, all these movies. So I would go to his house and I would constantly notice people are going, hey, Brett, can you give me some money? Hey, Brett, can you put me in the movies? I never did that. I've known him 13 years, never asked him anything. So he always liked having me around because I never asked him for anything. Even when I did 26 shorts, 30 music videos, commercials, never showed him anything. One day he accidentally saw it. And he was like, I was showing it to another girl. And he's like, hey, how come you didn't show me this? This is really good. I'm like, no, man, I did that in 2006. I don't want to. He goes, leave me the copy. I didn't leave him the copy. Because I didn't want him helping me. Because I know how he looked at people that constantly had a handout.
Yep.
When you go to really successful people, everybody goes to them going, what can you do for me?
Yep.
That door closes.
Yep.
So just me being around him, I got to sit in meetings at Warner Brothers, at Disney. My own clients, through my own clients, Spielberg was 6 chairs down from me in a meeting, and I'm getting to hear how decisions are made in Hollywood. And I'm learning. Now, in the meantime, I have a full production company. I have cameras, drones, jibs, I have everything. I own everything. I could make a feature film, but I'm waiting. I'll keep making these shorts, and I started producing for other people, getting better at my craft. Earlier you said, who succeeded the first time? You did, and so did I. I didn't want to say anything. I succeeded. But you're right. Most people don't. But there are people like us who plan before we attack and execute. So, yes, Wall Street succeeded in that, which is one of the hardest business. And Hollywood is almost impossible to break into as a newcomer, right? Our film, Trees of Peace, was top 10 in 60 countries, launched in 191 countries as Netflix original, got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics, and 85% from audience, launched career of 4 incredibly beautiful, talented black women and 1 white woman. They're doing big things today. So anything is possible. And so when I was doing these shorts and I was going on my journey, I would not ask Brett for anything. But Michelle and I went to Budapest and got to we hung out with Rock when he was shooting Hercules. And we were on this set, $150 million movie set. And I'm sitting there going, you know, Brett takes my phone and it has Michelle's picture when Michelle was competing. She's like 6% body fat, all ripped. And he literally walks up to Rock and he goes, "Hey, Dwayne, this is my friend. She's going to kick your ass." And Rock looks at the picture, looks at Michelle, goes, "Hey, you?" Michelle goes, "Yeah." She goes, and Rock knows because his wife's been competing in fitness for years. His ex-wife. Rock goes, "She probably would kick my ass." and he isn't kidding because her warm down, cool down after the full workout was 600 weighted lunges. That's what she used to do. But that's why she won every contest she entered. Age 35. She was competing against 21-year-olds. If you go to our social media, you'll see some pictures. She doesn't post much. She's very modest. But it's there. So she's hanging out with The Rock while I'm out there talking to everybody. The cinematographer, the editor, I'm talking to everybody. I'm going, wow, $150 million budget movie, right? Planning, executing in my head. 2017, Michelle and I directed, she produced a short film called Death Note based on the famous Japanese anime.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, it's on there. So we made, it's a very famous Japanese anime. The reason I did it, Netflix spent $45 million making Death Note the movie. It's got like 0s and 1s on IMDb because it's an awful rendition. They took an Asian character and whitewashed it, made the main character white, and it was just a bad movie. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make it the right way. So we spent only $4,000 and made an 11-minute short, and I put it on YouTube. Didn't do any marketing, anything. Because my cinematographer, who was a co-producer, when the movie was done editing, he stole the movie, put his name as a director, and put it out there to raise money for the next one, before I could.
Oh, wow.
Except I had 4 hours of behind-the-scene footage showing me directing the movie. Now, I could have gone after him. I could have kicked his butt. All kinds of things. I was consumed with anger. Instead, I chose to focus on growth versus him.
Yeah.
So I was so disappointed, I just put Death Note on YouTube, and I forgot about it. 85,000 views. Brett saw it. He starts passing it around. DreamWorks, they start passing it around. I get a call from head of Amazon. And the guy says to me, "Well, I had to call you because I heard you did this for $4,000. Well, I have to say it's bullshit." And I said, "What?" He goes, "Well, your opening sequence costs more than $5,000. And I go, "Oh, well, I only spent $269 on the opening sequence." And he goes, "What?" And I explained it to him how I did it. Right? He goes, "Do you have any time later today? I have to go to a meeting because I like to talk to you more." I go, "Yeah, I have all the time you need." He calls me at 4 o'clock. Calls me back. Talks to me for 2.5 hours. I had met this black kid on the street, on the strip. I ended up doing Michelle and I, we made his music video to help him. They saw the video. We only spent $1,500. He goes, "Bruno Mars just did the same thing. Spent $1.8 million." I said, "We spent $1,500. He goes, "You got a plane in there." I go, "I know." And I told him how I did. So at this point, this guy he goes through all my stuff, and next time he questioned me, I go, "Do you want me to tell you?" He goes, "I'm sure you will." And at this point, he goes, "Anytime you have a script, come see me. I want to be in business with you. Do you have one right now?" I said, "I do, but I don't want to make these B-grade, C-grade movies. When I come out of the gate, people got to recognize, otherwise I'm stuck doing these $200,000, $100,000 films, making $5,000, breaking my back." He goes, "Okay, come see me when you get it." At this point, I'm trying to write a script while working full-time as a stockbroker, and I'm exhausted. My wife gets a job offer in Vancouver, and we go to Vancouver for 3 months. I can work from anywhere. They give us this beautiful apartment. I'm going, okay, I'm going to be inspired. I'm going to write something. From 6 o'clock to 1 o'clock, you're trading. You're exhausted. So I'm fried mentally. At this point, this young black lady starts following me on Instagram. So I looked at her, I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, nice looking girl, move on. A week later, I'm bored. I keep writing, throwing it away, writing, throwing it away. And then one day I looked at her profile. She keeps liking my post, and she's consistent. And I look at her page, and the moment I read what she wrote on each of her posts, by the way, up till this point, I had read 4,000 scripts. I'm willing to do the work that nobody's willing to do, like Robert did when he was cutting hair for no money. I've been doing this for a long time. In my free time, I was watching YouTube videos, master classes. So I look at Alana's profile, and something inside me clicked, and I said, this girl's different. Look her up, she hasn't done anything. So I call her, I write to her, and I said, hey, let's get on a call. I'm a producer. Let me step back one step. In 2012, when she was competing, I had met this guy named Brian, who's a Filipino guy, and he came by, and he looks at Michelle, and he was competing in men's physique, and he's this short Filipino guy, all buffed up, oiled up, and he comes to Michelle and goes, hey, are you Indian? Michelle goes, no, but my husband is, and he looks at me and goes, oh, I thought you were Mexican, and he walks off. I'm like, what? So when Michelle gets on the stage, I had professional cameras, I was taking Michelle's pictures. Then Brian comes on stage, and I didn't know Brian at that time, but I always do random acts of kindness. So I start taking his pictures. I was like, you know, it'll be kind of cool if I give him his shots on stage. So later he was walking by, and I said, hey, I have some pictures for you if you want it. I took them. He goes, oh my God, yeah, thank you. Let's exchange Facebook. 2012 March. I gave him the pictures. We're on each other's Facebook. Never spoke till 2017. When he saw Death Note, calls me up, goes, bro, I didn't know you did this. This is amazing. I said, yeah, this is my passion. He goes, we talked for a little bit, and he goes, man, if you want to make a movie, I got money, I'll give you $2 million. And I go, okay. And he goes, you going to do something? I go, no, man, I don't have a great script. Until I get a great script, I'm not doing it. Okay. 2018, he calls me, he goes, dude, you're the only guy I know I'm offering you $2 million, and you're saying no to me. While everybody else is asking me money. I go, Brian, I'm not coming out and doing a crap movie, because I'll be stuck in low-budget hell. When I come out of the gate, people got to respect me. The movie's got to mean something. Okay. Goes away. 2019, I call Alana. I said, look, I have financing. Maybe you can help me write a script. Let's get on a call. So when she calls me, my wife goes to bed at 8 o'clock. She's ride or die till 8 p.m. Okay? So I said, you got to stay up and talk to this girl, because I don't want her to think I'm a producer that slid into her DMs, right? So I'm like, you got to talk to this girl. So I said, hey, listen, I want you to talk to my wife first. She's my partner. Michelle and Alana spoke for 10 minutes, and then I got on the phone with her. And I said, hey, would you want to write something for me? You know, I have money, I'm going to produce, and I'm going to direct. I'm getting ready to direct. And she talks to me for about 20 minutes, and she goes, you know, I've been trying to make this movie for 7 years called Trace of Peace that I want to direct. 7 different producers came, attached themselves, couldn't raise financing, dropped me. Ben Affleck's company was attached at one time, but nobody seems to let me direct this movie. In my head, I know why. She's a first-time female black director who's done 1 short film. So it's a huge risk for an investor. But I was like, look, I'm sorry, I'm turning 50. This was in February of 2019. I'm turning 50 in October. I'm going to direct. I have more experience than most directors in Hollywood. So I want to direct, so I'm not going to be able to produce this movie for you. But send me the script. I need to look at your writing sample. And maybe you can write something for me. She said, well, thanks for being honest, because everybody keeps lying to me and coming on board and tying me up and wasting my time. I said, okay, no problem. That night, she went to bed. I stayed up. Kodak moment in my head, 11:30 at night. I'm sitting in my balcony. 2 things hit me. 1, holy shit, I have an Oscar bait script in my hand. This is the best script I've read in like 4,000 scripts. 2, nobody's going to let her direct this movie, and here's the reason. If a studio producer falls in love with this movie, they're going to go, the story's about 3 African women and a white woman hiding in a 5x5 basement room, underground room, for 81 days during the genocide in Rwanda and surviving, based on true events. So if a Hollywood producer fell in love with this script, they're going to go, let's bring in Lupita, Let's bring in Margot Robbie to play the white girl, Viola Davis, Kerry Washington.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. We have a first-time female black director? No, that's not going to work. Let's bring in Ava DuVernay. And she would get knocked out.
Right. Yeah.
And I loved her fight. This little girl's been fighting for 7 years trying to get this movie made. Talked to the boss next morning. Made her read the script. And she was like, are you sure you want to do this? Because this is going to delay us another 2 years. Because I said, I got to make this movie. If I don't, this story will never be told and this will never happen. So I called her up and I said, I'm going to produce this movie. She didn't believe me. She thought I was catfishing her. She will tell you that even today because she's been, like, people gave her hope and took it away so many times. She totally didn't believe me. Then I went to raise money. Went to some very wealthy black millionaires, billionaires. Everybody said no to me.
Wow.
They said, I'm black and I don't want to see this movie. Or this would never work. This would. And I said, why? Because it had all women in it. There's no men in it. I said, hey, when I go see a movie, I don't go, this movie has all men in it. Let me watch it.
Right.
I watch a movie because it's a great movie, right? So I was so upset. We even reached out to some huge stars and actresses. I don't want to take their name because later they reached out to us and said, hey, we're sorry, we should have been part of it. But at that time they said no, A-list actors and actresses. I was so pissed. Then I did something that nobody in Hollywood's ever done. I went to Brian and Jeff and I said, guys, let's put this money in. I'm going to produce. We're going to do this movie. No first-time director gives their own funding to another first-time director who has way less experience.
Right.
I did that. Everybody said I was stupid. Everybody said I was stupid. Everybody, I know all my clients in Hollywood, they're like, are you dumb? I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to be right on her shoulder. Right. Everything she doesn't know, I know. We got it. But this story needs to be told. Then I went to Brian and Jeff. Within 10 minutes, they said, yeah, we give you the money. But we have a condition. I said, what? You direct the movie. I said, no. She's got to direct the movie. 1 hour fight. Because I knew, as a black woman, nobody was going to let her direct this movie. And the story, I might have a perspective, but as a black woman, she has a completely different perspective, which is authentic. Right? Thank you. So at that point, I convinced them, and they said, okay, what do you want? A couple $100,000? I said, hell no. He goes, you want more? I said, no, we're doing this movie for $600,000. And he looks at me and he goes, $600,000? How can you make a movie for that? I go, no, I'm going to make that movie for that. Right. Because if I do it for more, I might not be able to get your money back. Yeah. Not only did I produce the movie for $600,000, Michelle and I we paid everybody. We didn't pay ourselves a dime from that money. Because we want the two investors to know that we had integrity and we didn't just pay ourselves. In Hollywood, you could easily pay yourself 10 or 15% of the budget because you raised the money and you're making it happen. But I wanted him to know, in case the movie didn't work, that we didn't line our pocket with his money. That was really important to us. Then we went into production. I told them, obviously, fast forward, they were so shocked. And this was June of 2019, October, we went into production. Before that, she introduced me to somebody at Sony. I went in, and once again, everybody's like, this is not going to happen. Why are you going to Sony? They don't give you cameras. I go, let me do what I do. I go into Sony. I talk them into giving us the camera that Tom Cruise used for Top Gun, the last one, and James Cameron used for Avatar 2 and 3. I got them to give me the camera package for free. And then I went to the Sigma and got them to give us the lenses for free. I got this guy who's got 5 Oscar nominations, 3 Oscar wins, who I even today have never met. Got his guys to come and do the sound mix for us for 10 cents on the dollar. All over the phone.
Resourceful.
That's right. Going back to what I said. It's about being resourceful. Right? And the whole time, my biggest power was, look, I'm championing these women. I'm not taking $1. So once I said that, people were like, okay, we'll stand and work with you. And I was thankful. I showed appreciation, right? Anyway, make a long story short, we made the movie. We shot the movie in 4 weeks in 2019, finished in November. We went into post. Movie gets done in March. All the Hollywood agencies are all hot after us because at this point, Black Lives Matter movement has taken off.
Yep,
So everybody thinks I did it for that reason. People are like, oh, you're really smart. You did it for... I'm like, dude, when I started this, there was no Black Lives Matter. Right. But all the Hollywood agencies, they were watching. So here's the problem. Everybody loved the movie, except her and I hated the movie. We were like, wow, this movie doesn't really work. It didn't come out the way we wanted it. So we go to UTA, but before we go to UTA, Brett Ratner calls me. I didn't even tell him I was making a movie. And he goes, hey, Mom said you're making a movie. Are you shooting right now? I said, no, we're done. I'm in LA. I'm showing the movie day after tomorrow to UTA and CAA and William Morris, the 3 biggest agencies in Hollywood. Nobody better see the movie before me. You better come to my house right now. I said, bro, I'll come there tomorrow. I'll show you the movie. Once again, here's a guy I've known for 14 years, never asked for one thing. Right. I go to his house. I start the movie. 10 minutes into it, he stops the movie. He goes, who are these women? This is incredible. This is Oscar-worthy. He starts messaging them on Instagram, each actress, and congratulating them. An hour and a half movie took, at that time, it was 2 hours. It took us 4 hours to watch because he stopped so many times to tell me how brilliant it was. And when he finished, he goes, this is amazing. This could win an Oscar. Like these girls. I said, no, I actually don't like the movie. And Brian, the investor, was sitting there with me. And he was like, I don't know what he's talking about. We love the movie. And I go, I don't like the movie. It's too long. I go, it can't be 2 hours. It has to be 1.5 hours. Plus the editing doesn't work. He goes, no. And we're arguing. As we're arguing, he picks up the phone, calls president of Sony Picture Classic and goes, my best friend made this movie. You got to see it. It could win an Oscar. And I'm like, no. And he got talked to him. I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, okay. So I get on the phone and Michael Barker goes, hey, Brett is saying this is good. This has got to be good. I got to see it. Do you have a DCP? I said, yeah. Send it to me. I overnight it tonight. I want to see it first thing tomorrow morning in New York. I'm like, oh my God. And Brian's going, I don't know what Ron's problem is. I'm like, dude, shut up. You like Marvel movies. You don't know what works and doesn't. So we were doing this, right, with the main investor. Well, I sent the movie to him. And then next day I'm at UTA. Like all the top people at UTA came to watch the movie. As I'm watching them, in the middle of the movie, I get a text from him. Are you at UTA? I'm like, yeah, go step out. I stepped out. He goes, yeah, Michael Barker said he loved the movie, but he said the movie needs work and he passed. I said, no kidding, Brett. I pass on the movie. The movie doesn't work. And then I tell the rest of the producers, and they're like, well, the investors go, well, we don't agree with you, but we'll back you. So then I tell them, my director, and she doesn't agree with me. She goes, what do you want to change? I go, we need to put the Rwanda footage, authentic footage from Rwanda in the beginning and the end. And that was her idea. And she goes, no, I don't agree. And we went back and forth. And I said, we need to trim the movie 30 minutes. It's too long. I mean, I was tired of my own movie watching it, right? And I was like, this doesn't work. I said, please. So she agreed. We argued about 30 minutes back and forth. And then I said, I have final cut on this movie. This movie's not coming out. Please take a month. You're too close to the movie. Take a look. Come back, talk to me. In the meantime, other executive producers are going, remove her, take over the movie. Once again, I'm like, I am not removing my director. And they said, well, you're right. She's wrong. I said, I'm going to convince her. I didn't have to. 3 weeks later, she called me crying. She goes, oh my God, this movie's so good. So bad. How come everybody's saying so good? I said, because most people in Hollywood don't have an opinion. They look to the right, they look to the left. Whatever they're saying, they say. You have to have an opinion. I know what a good cinema is, what's not good. What do? Hire a new editor. And here's a year and a half gone by. Me and her haven't taken a dime. I just jumped in the cave again for another 8 months of free work to re-edit the movie. Because it didn't matter. If the movie wasn't good, it didn't matter. If his haircut's not great, it doesn't matter what comes out of his mouth, right? So we rated the movie. Then we sent it to the film festivals. UTA, we hired UTA. The agencies were fighting over the movie, the second cut. Oh, one other thing. Brett introduced me to Nicole Avant. You guys can look her up, the most powerful, influential black woman. She's the daughter of Clarence Avant, who ran Motown. She's married to the CEO of Netflix. And Nicole, I had shown Nicole the movie. Her father just passed away. Her mom was murdered last year in Hollywood on a break-in. If you guys heard the news. So anyway, so I had reached out to her and we became friends and I had shown her the movie. Luckily, I had told her, I hate the movie, Michelle hates the movie, but please watch it, give me your notes. When she got back to me, I could tell she didn't like the movie, but she didn't tell me directly. She gave me some notes and then she got off the phone. So when we re-edited the movie, next new cut, we entered the Santa Barbara Film Festival. we started winning all these festivals. First place, jury award, best director. We won Phoenix Festival, Switzerland. I mean, Switzerland is as white as it gets. We won Switzerland. We won Africa's biggest festival, right? They go to sell the movie. I'm gonna cut it short. They go to sell the movie. We get 2 offers, and everybody else passed on us, including Netflix. And everybody. And they said, great movie, but, we don't know how to sell this. The 2 offers I got, my investors were going to lose 98% of their money. But our movie would be out there at Showtime and Paramount. And once again, I'm fighting with my 2 investors and my director. I said, I am not signing. This movie deserves a better home. I want to be at Netflix because they have 230 million viewers. People will see this movie. I want people to see this movie. I don't care if I don't make a dime. But if I don't make a dime and people don't see the movie, then I failed as a producer. Right. 6 months we fought. My investor said to me, Ron, I will not hold this against you. I've written the money off in my head. I just want to tell my friends I made a movie. I go, I'm sorry, stop calling me, I'm not signing. They're like, well, Nicole's not calling you back. I'm like, she will. She's busy, right? I dripped on her for 6 months. Finally, I think she even said this later. She goes, I thought I would just talk to you and get you off my butt, So she talked to me, and in 45 minutes, I convinced her to watch the movie again. Now, if you don't like a movie the first time, are you going to watch it again the second time, especially when it's a drama, serious movie? Yeah. So I understood why she didn't want to watch the movie. So after talking to her 45 minutes, and Brian and Michelle, they're all listening to the call. And Brian kept telling me, just sign the deal, bro. Even Alana's like, Brian doesn't care. Why do you care? I go, I care because nobody will see your damn movie, Alana. Nobody will see the movie. But Nicole will take another 6 months to watch the movie. I go, doesn't matter. I go, I'm going to get her to say no to me. And I'm telling you, if I was a video game, my meter was at 1 at this point. Right? Nicole goes, can you send me a DVD copy of the movie? By Friday, I'm going to get Ted to see it with me on Saturday. I'm like, absolutely. We didn't have a DVD copy. I get a DVD copy. I get my lead actress to drive it over to Nicole's house, Ted's house. I'm like, dude, you got to give me a DVD because the CEO of Netflix is going to watch this movie, even though they have passed on it. And UTA calls me and goes, Ron, what the hell's going on? Netflix is in full scramble. Ted just marked this thing as a acquisition target. And the head of UTA goes, I just want you to know something. Don't get your hopes up. Once Netflix passes on a movie, they don't come back and pick it up. I said, honestly, I don't care. I said, what do you mean? I said, I don't care if Netflix buys us because I have a different plan. We have a distribution deal where somebody's going to let us release the movie theatrically around the country for 7 days. Nicole's friends are Ava DuVernay, Oprah Winfrey, Will Smith. I mean, you name it. Like, these are her friends. Kerry Washington. I go, if she just gets them to tweet, I'll get 2 million people to watch the movie.
Yep, right.
And I won at that point, right? So it's like, I'm thinking, I don't care if Netflix picks it up. That's my plan B at this point. Right. Make a long story short, we go through some more turmoil. Ted goes, don't sign anything. She puts me on the phone with Ted. I spoke to him for 30 minutes. Head of UTA calls me and goes, how do you get on the phone for Ted Sarandos for 30 minutes? I don't even get him on for 3 minutes. And I said, hey, if you want to get to somebody, you go to their wife.
Yep.
Right?
For real.
So we go down to LA for a week, pay our own money, get a hotel. Nicole and Ted are going to meet me. Right that week, the Dave Chappelle things happened. And all of a sudden, the whole world is against Ted Sarandos and Netflix and the whole transgender thing. I don't know if you guys remember. He did a comedy special. Yep. And we're supposed to meet this week. And now we wait the whole week, and we don't get to meet him. So when I'm driving back, I'm talking to my director again. She's like, I'm tired of this. Just sign the deal. I said, I'm not signing. So stop calling me. I yelled at my investor. I said, stop calling me. I'm not signing. I'm going to make her say no to me. Come back to LA a week later. I spent my birthday there. Came back to Vegas. I'm really low at this point. Like the light's about to go out. I got a letter from Netflix on Thursday at 12:51 p.m. We love the movie. We'd like to do a global distribution licensing deal with you as a Netflix area. I'm getting goosebumps. Saying this. And I was crying. I was crying at that point. Come on. Then the movie goes on Netflix. The studio invited Michelle and I walked the red carpet with Tom Cruise for Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. We were at Cannes Film Festival. We walked the red carpet with the cast of Maverick. And I'm looking around, and for the first time, I felt like I belonged there because I worked to get there, right? And like taking pictures. We come back 10 days later. We come back from France. The movie comes out. It's top 10 in 60 countries. Even Netflix was blown away. The girl that plays the nun in the movie, she just did Emancipation Will Smith after that. She's shooting Shaka Zulu from Showtime right now. She's done another one, The Good Fight. She went from literally to the point where we had to give her money to go to her next audition to now she owns a house in Vegas and she's a millionaire. So the director who couldn't get one job, she has 7 jobs in Hollywood right now as a writer.
Hell yeah.
Okay? Ilian, who plays the pregnant, she's the lead. She came from Rwanda. She actually survived the genocide as an 8-year-old herself. So she's an incredible actress. She's doing all this stuff overseas. The white girl, Ella's done 8 movies. The guy who played the husband, he's done a Netflix show. He just did the Transformers. He has an AMC show. Everybody blew up. Moral of the story is this. Everybody told me I couldn't play basketball, played 4 years. They told me I couldn't dance, I danced. They told me I couldn't date tall girls. I dated really tall girls, then I married the short one. So, people will tell you what you can and can't do. Nobody knows. You can do anything you want to do. Surround yourself with good people. Any free time, Michelle.